So fam, what's up squad? How are we doing today? Guys, I think we are a couple of hours away from market pushing up again. So I am very much getting ready to trade the market up. I've given myself a couple of days to reset the brain, started eating better, started just getting Sheldon nice and healthy. Again, market goes into these red emotions. We got to make sure our mentalities are in the green emotions, right? I can already see many saying, top is in, bull market's over, right? What this does is it fills this entire market with bearishness. And we know how fast that starts to turn because a few weeks back it was filled with bullishness, right? And things start to shift off. So we are 24 hours away from me launching up to 10 to 20 bots. I am relaunching trading accounts. I am relaunching 3 bit-funded trading accounts. So in the show today, I want to show you exactly how I'm preparing for the next trades. The point here is not to rush the trade, but to make sure that you get the next obvious one. It is time for a winning streak, and it's time for us to get back where we were a lot faster, right? And by the time the market starts to recover, we want to sit back and say, thank goodness for that dump. I used it to my advantage. So I am using multiple different strategies right now. I'm trading multiple different accounts. These accounts will be entering in the next 12 to 24 hours. I want to give you guys these levels. I want to show you the trends that I'm using and specifically the tokens that I am using as well. These big drops and these events that happen, guys, give me a restart to do it right and to do it better than the next time. You'll never do it right, but to do it better. Right, and I am so pumped and so ready for the damn gains, and I want to show you guys this. So guys, hope you are having a fantastic day so far. Again, we stay on the bike, we keep pedaling, we keep pushing, but it's important now to let go of those emotions that are holding you down, pump yourself up, and get back at it. No wasting time. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like 𝗧𝗏𝗱𝗏𝗏. Welcome to Sheldon's show.
Squad, how are we doing, guys? Like the video up, subscribe. I want to see you still alive. If you're alive, hit the like up. If you've looked after your mind and made yourself stronger over the last few days and ain't allowing this to break you, smash that like. I want to see those that are using this as a stepping stone to their success. In life, you're going to get hit down. Things just happen out of nowhere. We have our response, right? Or we have the route of going with the way the market wants you to go. We can already see how the market's starting to get into many's minds. The thought of even a new high on Bitcoin is starting to get very far. The thought of an alt season is starting to get very far. We can just slowly start to see how these moves don't get people in the first 24, 48 hours, but they start to get people's minds over the next week too when you start to sit. And this is why I explained to you guys very much after the dump, this wasn't going to recover in 3-4 days. It's very likely to recover in 2-3 weeks, right? We've gone through the first week was the big drop. The second week we started, which was last week, we started going down and filling up those gaps that I spoke to you guys about. And now we at that last kind of point for me where we are still filling gap, but we're getting ready for the bulls to respond. Right now, again, what's very likely to happen here is the market's in a mindset of bounces or any push to the upside are not real, right? That's what the market's getting really good at right now. It's not real, it's not real, it's not real. And what that does is it kind of gets you to be quite hesitant, which is cool, but it gets everyone in this mindset that, you know, we're kind of not in the same market that we were previously. And that's why for the first 2-3 bounces, you will get fake outs, right? You'll basically get the market to push. And we've been through this a few times, you know, specifically over the last couple of months. First bounce is fake, right? This one smashed a lot of people. First one's fake. Those who survived come and pile up in over here. What tends to happen then is second dump tends to take more time. And I told you guys that the market now needs to chop slowly, right? It needs to get quite boring, needs to quite chop around. And there's a reason for that, right? It's putting all of those that have basically FOMO'd in back in over here, right? Putting them under pressure. And when it does the slow move like this, you know, it tends to really capitulate people's mindsets, right? Then what we have is the first higher bounce. So remember the problem with the first bounce, and I'm just using ETH as an example here because charts are charts and every token does its own cycles, right? But it's important because every new candle that's forming and every day that is passing, we are getting new structure to the bigger picture, right? Which is important. we zoom out here and we look at the bigger picture. You guys must just remember, when it comes to the bigger picture, and I just want to show you here on the high time frames, right? The bigger picture, I don't know why my line went funny, right? We are very far from a altcoin bear market, right? We are very far. Yet when you zoom in, it does look like a bear market. It does look like things are quite tough and not much strength. You zoom out, you start to realize, okay, no, we are actually still very much in an uptrend, right? If you look at this over here, there's the big trend that I worry about, right? We are very far from that. And when we dropped, we actually dropped straight into that trend and bounced. Okay, all that we are seeing now is how much liquidity are we coming back to grab? Because when this dropped over here, buying happened, and you saw how quickly we bought up over a couple of days after the dump. But then what happens is when price gets here, remember, there's a certain category of people that were buying this, right? A lot of people were exiting and getting smashed without the markets, right? So these people here, they buy those events, they buy those emotions, they buy the absolute specials. The moment price gets back up here, do you think they're still buying? No, right? They're not buying, right? They're basically allowing retail to come buy in. Okay, and because retail are not going to trust the pump, retail are very likely to sell on any pumps, right? Therefore, when we put up there, people are probably exiting bags because they're worried, right? And what happens is that's what tends then to get price to start pushing down. Then the same people that were buying here start buying and accumulating more over here. Once the accumulation period's done, then what happens is one green candle comes into play, okay, absorbs a lot of the red that happens, and all of those that still survive, if not new people that come within the market, will start piling in over here. But because the damage was done so big, right, it's very likely they won't trust anything until altcoins are above all-time highs, right? So I believe that those who are here today and those that are building trades and those that are paying attention today, I really believe you are part of a very small percentage that's going to kill it, right? I still 100% believe and have conviction we're going to kill it and we're going to have very strong markets, right? But the thing is, because this dump did so much damage, it's very likely that retail are only going to pile up over here. And I'm saying this because it was quite interesting. When we went through this phase here, right, this one here, which was the December pump, right? And I saw this over here, and I just want to give you guys a little bit of an estimate. So when I was here, let's say, for example, 20, 30K views on my shows, right? As this started to shift, when we got here, I was on 100 to 120,000 views per show, right? Just showing you the influx of people kind of flying in and out of crypto, right? And you could see that just that little spark over there ended up bringing 5 to 6 times more people, right? But then what happened was we ended up having this chop that got really tough. And this stage was a lot harder than this current stage we're in right now, in my opinion, right? Because this one took 6 months. This one happened very quickly. So the same result happened, okay? And this is why you got to understand the difference between a possible trap and something that is real, right? Is the same amount of time. This also dropped just as much. If you look at this pullback, we saw a 40% drop, right? We look at this pullback, we saw a 40% drop, right? Same drops, right? The difference, though, is this one took anywhere up to 3 to 4 months, right? This one took 1 week. Okay, what you think? But because this took so long and chopped everyone up, when we got here, I was again 20 to 30,000 views. When we got here, I was at 40,000. When we got here, I was around 45,000, right? So what happened is because this drop happened so much here and got people to exit and got kind of, you know, that mentality game, even when price got back to the highs again, those 120,000 that were here, they only 50% to 40% of them returned, which means that every big dump that is flushing people out, okay, is setting it a lot higher of when they're coming back, right? Because even when we got here again, where alts were back, you know, or ETH was back and things were starting to move up over here, we were only 50% back of where we were over here. So what do you think is going to happen again this time, right? Is when we get here, still not, yes. And that shows how these dumps get people to buy so much later, right? Really forces them to buy the damn tops and when things are gone, right? And that was the crazy thing for me to see between these two different stages that played out, okay, is how it literally forces people to buy late and come back a lot later. So again, any little pumps here, won't believe. And I'm talking retail, right? We're going to believe. Not only are we going to believe, this dump is going to make me believe 10 times harder than what I believed previously, right? Because it's important. It's important for you to have the conviction and have the bull mindset when you're still bullish. Again, my thesis is this line is for as long as I stay bullish. Why am I saying that? Because it's very similar to the last cycle too. This one's moving a little bit slower because we haven't gone into parabolic stages yet on alts, right? But there was one trend line that changed it all the last cycle, right? And as much as we went up, and then remember, altcoins did drop. So I'm going to show you guys 60%, not 40, right? And we still made higher highs after that, right? And look at that. So by having the initial momentum trend and having this understanding will really give you a bigger kind of mindset of, you know, giving things more flexibility than just making decisions off of one basic move, right? But it's just crazy to see how quickly people get flushed and how long it takes for them to get back. So again, I'm saying here that what's likely to happen when this market's ready to go, right, is we're probably going to move up there very quickly, right? And the main purpose of that is to get people to fly in here. We need to have the mindset and opportunity here. We need to start building the trades here, right? So for me, build the bots here, right? Open up the DEX accounts, trade for farming airdrop points over here, right? Open up the Bitfunded accounts here, right? Open up the low leverage accounts here, right? I have to put stops because I took a hit on the last one. So I need to place a little bit less money and just focus on the risk a little bit more. Nonetheless, I want to open at least 10 of my ultimate strategies, and I call them turbos, right? I want to open them in this phase and area over here, right? When this all starts to move over here, I want to be so far. When everyone's piling in, I kind of want to say, guys, I need to take a break from crypto. Like I've done it, right? I've gotten to these far levels and these type of things as well. So the big thing between these two dumps here, right, and why I'm paying attention here is this one took time. This one went fast, right? And for me, if you look at what happened when this took time, look how much time it took to go back up, right? And the way I'm kind of reading it at this point is this went down fast, and I also think it's going to go up fast too, right? And I really think things will start sparking up and start moving very much. So I'm just explaining to you guys the mentality of why it's so important for me to get myself strong right now and to get my mental state strong and to get my positivity going and get, you know, I was even sitting and re-looking at my trading strategies that I built over the last few years, and I was just re-looking at everything again, right? So that's why I'm back in the Bitfundeds now, and it's like, what can I fix? What can I tweak? What can I go? I know we're going here. That ain't going to change. My conviction is there, right? But what can I improve? What can I get better, right? And how can I go? And not just fly back into the markets. You guys have seen, I have not entered back into the market. I've had some small trades, but I'm in cash, right? If you look at a lot of my accounts, I'm in cash, I'm in cash, I'm in cash. I've started moving some more money over to the bots, right? So I did trade with $120,000, $30,000. I'm trading with 17. I remember 40 did survive of this. So I put in another, I think 30K. Okay, so in cash, right? I still have these bots with the original ones, but I'm in cash, done, right? My accounts are loaded, I'm going. But am I running and trading yet? No. Because if I went with the bad mindsets and got back in again, it's very likely I'm going to give a lot of that money back and then get into this rut that will take me a year to recover versus me fixing this now in 3 months recovering and being back on top. And I promise you, remember this, that feeling when you've recovered from this is going to be a very special feeling. Trust me, when life hits you with a hard hit very quickly and you overcame it, you only but get stronger. And then once that happens, you start to get this confidence and the self-esteem within yourself, right? And these things won't affect you so much in the future. You're only going to just pile drive through it a lot easier and a lot stronger through these things. Glenn, what's up, brother? Manu, yes. Way too little likes in this video. You know how it works. When the market's pumped, they like. When it's done, not so much, but it doesn't matter. Everyone's here. It does not matter. Likes don't matter. I also I want to make more money, so let's do that. Okay, guys, so let's go through a couple of things I want to open up with you guys. So I'm getting ready. I'm going to explain to you why I'm getting ready for trades and which trades I'm basically taking. I've loaded myself up Bitfunded accounts. So why have I done this? Remember, so again, if you look here below description, you will see Bitfunded. There's Bitfunded over there. Okay, and it's prop trading, which basically means that, hey, pay a certain amount of money, pass a level, and you get to trade with real capital and keep 90%, right? But why am I doing this? Because I have a choice now, right? I have a choice where, okay, let's say I have a couple $1,000 or $10,000, $20,000. I have a choice if I want to use that entire $10,000 to trade. Okay, or what I can do is I can think about what are all the different strategies. So if I had 10,000, right, and just an example of what I'm doing, I'm trading a little bit more than that, but let's say 10K, I say, you know what, okay, 1,000, I'm setting it to gravity, which is a DEX over here, right? I'm still actually in a short at the moment. Over here, I send over 1,000, okay, and I trade the DEX. I trade whenever I see trades. I trade. This is accumulating me airdrop points, right? Another one that I'm opening is 𝗟𝗏. Okay, so out of that 10K, I'm taking 1,000, and I'm saying, you know what? I'm still trading. I'm just moving to a decentralized exchange, and while I'm doing that, I'm earning points for airdrop. So that's the first one, right? The second one is to say, you know what? I'm going to take $1,000, and I'm going to buy myself multiple BitFunded accounts. Right, and what that is again is that it's these accounts that, and what's amazing about it is they've opened up a one-step, guys, which is huge. Right, you got to pass one level now, and you unlock this size here. So if it's $99 and you pass one level, you get traded $5,000 with a 90% profit share. Right, and it's 149, 10,000. So the ones I opened is I have a 5,000, I have a 10,000, and I have an expert. Right, where I paid $1,000 for this over here. Right, and what that basically means again is to say, okay, either I can take my entire 10K now and I can trade this one type of strategy thing, right, or I can use one to get me airdrops. And by using $1,000, if I buy, and again, I don't have to use them all at once. That's not the point here. The point is to give myself multiple lives, right? But I can buy 10 base of these BitFunded accounts, right? Which means that if I pass the level, and again, I'm going to show you today in the show here, like my strategy to pass the level, because it's actually not that hard. I know a lot of people don't always understand it, but I'm going to explain to you very simply on how to pass the level, right? The first one is so you just got to be very patient, but I'll show you guys, okay? But again, 10 of these is worth $50,000 of trading money, right? I only have 10K. So all of a sudden, if I just, so again, I take 10% of the trading account and I say, okay, I'm going to buy myself a couple of these and I get to trade with one of them at a time. It also means that I have 10 lives. So at any point, as market wants to drop even more, I have another life, amazing, right? Which is fantastic. So again, now I have BitFunded. Now I have this over here. Again, I could take $1,000, $2,000 of that and I can get ready for the bots. And again, the bots, I'll make sure, okay, last time I went on 5X, the ranges were big, but obviously a dump like that hit them. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit more conservative, 2x this, and make sure that is really stretched up. But again, 1,000, 2,000 in bots, right? And then with that last 5K, okay, amazing. I'm splitting this into 4 or 5 lives, and I'm trading 1,000 at a time, and I'm going, right? And that is taking a dump, looking at what you got left, and rebuilding a game plan, right? Did I have DEX previously that was farming me points? No, I didn't. Was I running BitFunded in the last few weeks? No, I wasn't. Right? So these new things popped up again and gave me the opportunity to go again, right? By me breathing, getting back to track, getting my head going and getting things shifting. So this is the way I am setting myself up with my trading accounts, right? Getting myself a full strategy and really understanding. And then again, like I said, I have my accounts that I will trade capital as well, right? Got it? So again, have I entered trades? Have I done anything? Have I even? No. I got all of my structure going first. Now we're going to look at the charts. We're going to look at the trades, right? We're going to look at where we're going to start shifting and where we're going to get going. So let's get back in over here and let's go see the picture, right? I spoke to you guys yesterday about Bitcoin being into resistance. Very likely we are going to drop, right? Because we're in resistance. And I just want to show you guys why. So let's go back here on Bitcoin. So these were the 2 trend lines I showed you guys on the weekly. Showed you that last week we lost a important trend, right? Which was this trend over here. And we closed below it. So I told you guys that because yesterday we actually had a bit of green. And I said, guys, it's not real. The reason why it's not real is because we lost this trend. So it's very likely we're going to reject here and actually come down and fill these gaps on Bitcoin, right? We might even go a little bit lower, right? In these plays over here. So that is starting to play out very nicely. Right, the Bitcoin dominance, we spoke about a little bit more push up. That's also playing out, but it's still showing us at any point drop or when the markets get bull. Right, when it comes to total 3, I spoke about it yesterday. I said, guys, this candle's still bearish. It's very likely we're going to push down, right, over here. So that we've gotten correct, and I haven't gone and wasted money. trying to get longs, trying to trade this market and do these type of things. I've actually been shorting a little bit, just trading the range, these type of things. However, there's going to be a certain point now in this, and I spoke to you guys yesterday about this, and again today. We are not far from a very important RSI being reset. When this RSI is reset, it's telling us we're ready for a couple of weeks of growth side again. But when this gets to the bottom, it does mean that the speed up is going to happen. Now, in this manipulator event, the speed up happened quite quickly. But it's very likely we're going to speed up here, and we're actually going to get ready for the bulls to start returning. So it's so important that as this is coming down for me to track it. Right? So important. Because it's basically telling me the only thing you should be focusing right now is building your strategies and building your long-term bags with whatever cash, if you got cash or if you think. Build your long-term plays on this over here. But where you have to now step up more than what you stepped up over the last few months, okay, is there is a bit of trading to do to get it back. Now, again, if you sit on, if you got good quality altcoins in your long-term bag, you could probably wait 2 years and you'll be in profits, right? So again, okay, I'm not like that though. For me, it's like, no, like in 6 months or a year from now, like I want to still hit the target that I've wanted to hit. So I don't want to wait for so long to recover. So again, 90% of my bags are long-term, but I am going to use 10% to trade the market. So again, when we're on this side over here, okay, I'm trading the market and I'm going to get my money back quickly. If not, make even more, right? And that's the goal here. The goal is to look back in a couple of years from now and say, these were the biggest events ever, but it's what turned me into a millionaire. If this didn't happen, I went from 10K here to 100K, right? It had to happen. But remember, I first was at 50, then I went to 10, right? But I had to, that was the stepping stone. So again, tracking down this, knowing that RSI is getting reset, on when this side of the line, we get on this side of the line, be ready with your strategies. Don't ask yourself, please don't ask, what am I doing? What am I buying? On that side, right? This is the time for you to fuel up and know what you want from the damn market. On this side, boom, green lights, green lights, green lights, go, 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 right? Again, with that dominance sitting where it is, it's very likely also going to pop very hard too. So let's get back in over here. We know why Bitcoin's kind of pulling back. We had that big resistance. Now what I do as well is that big line that I told you guys that I'm tracking at the top. So here's Bitcoin's one, right? So what do? I take the initial trends from when we started, I put the lines in, and that gave me a bit of a time frame to say, hey, this market's going to chop for a couple of days to a week or two, right? That we already knew. I already said this last week over here. It's going to chop. So any trading that I'm doing, right, has to be this type of short-term trade, right? Get in, make some money, get out. But what's the point? Right? What's the point rather than waiting for this unless it pulls part of your strategy? So coming back to Bitfunded again, Bitfunded has levels to pass, right? If I had to paint the picture here as an example of a couple scenarios, but let's go with the first. After this drop, we push up here, then we drop, and then we go, right? That's one of the plays here. I could use this little phase over here to pass my level on Bitfunded. Amazing. What does that do? It gives me a real funded account. Do I ape in here? No, with the fund. No, all I have to do is unlock the money, right? And it's one trade, and I'll show you guys this in a sec, right? By the time I do that, cool, got my money, amazing. I'm waiting now for the other side of the line. When the other side of the line comes, boom, go, right? But what can I do in these times here to get these levels start to move up? The second one is, let's say, bots, right? Now, bots is a strategy where it buys now, and then also gives you a range to buy more to the downside. Right? So as this starts to creep down and I got big supports here and I'm like, okay, if I open a bot here with tons of limit orders, while this is all chopping here, it can accumulate for me and just build the positions that I want without me staring every day and then exhausting my brain and doing all these different types of things, right? Let it do it over here. And remember, guys, on your bots as well, you can do a 1x with no leverage. Okay. And the benefit of that is it will catch the bigger move, but it will also trade the range in between, right? It will make a different thing. But nonetheless, again, I can do that now, right? What I can also do is I can do some of my short-term trading if I want with my account as well, but knowing that the big move ain't going to happen yet, right? But this is opportunity and there are waves, and you can see there's been these multiple little waves that are forming over here, and I can trade them too, okay? But nonetheless, the back of my head, I know that when we're really going to move is when we're on this side of the line. And the way you see this over here is all of this here, the drop is red. Right? Why is that green? Let's make it red. Dun, 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 dun. that's red emotions. That's red emotions, right? This side, that's green emotions. So when it comes to me making money and really going, green emotions is really where it's going to happen. But it means I need to be ready and prepared for the green emotion stage, right? Which means all the building needs to happen here. The structuring needs to happen here. When this goes, there's no double thinking. What am I buying? What am I doing? This is such a big secret that I'm sharing with you guys right now. Not even a secret, just something that is real, right? When it comes to those who are really succeeding in the space, right? Is specifically this, preparing for the success and when it's going to go. Again, did I say anything about rushing in now and trading on my leverage account? Let's go get our money back. Let's go do this. No, I said, guys, prepare, and whichever strategy matches buying and doing stuff now, go for it. But the rest, get ready and unlock. So just by me thinking out the box, for example, with the bit funded accounts, right? By me using $1,000, I give myself an opportunity to unlock $50,000. May 3 of them go incorrect. And how do they go incorrect? Let's speak about this, right? Is if you go in a 10% loss, okay, in a 24-hour base, right? So there's certain percentages. If you go in at 20%, remember, they're giving you $5,000. If you end up losing $2,000, at some point it will close and say, you know what, done, right? Close type of thing there as well. And that's fine, right? Again, that comes down to the 3% risk and things like that. And how do you unlock the money? An 8% win, right? You got to get an 8% win and you unlock real capital. But nonetheless, do you see how me taking, okay, previously, I'll just jump back in with my trading account to try to do it. But now all of a sudden, with $1,000, I got a strategy to build up at least $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 that I don't have to help me get back quicker. So if I had to ask you the question now, if you had an extra $10,000 now or extra $50,000, would that help you get back quicker when the market goes up again? If so, amazing, right? It's something that you can build and get yourself ready. Are you building that account right now? No, but can you pass the level in this little rough stage now? Yes, because it's not a massive move. Remember, 8% with leverage is not a lot. You don't even have to trade leverage, right? But nonetheless, use this phase to get the damn rocket ships loaded and building. Okay, so again, that's the views over there. Now, let's talk about a little bit of trading techniques right now. Right, where are trading techniques and what trades could I be taking now to currently build? Okay, so if we look at this now, all of your tokens will be moving in a certain range, right? So for example, on Bitcoin, if we look at there, 12% up, right? We look here, 11% down, right? As we push to the upside, 8% up, right? So you can clearly see that we are moving in this 10% range, but the big thing here is remember, it's starting to get smaller. And I told you guys it's going to get smaller. The reason why it's getting smaller is because a big move is on the horizon, right? So here is the big wedge that's in play. So if you look at this now, you could see clearly that this is where all the support's sitting. This is where all the resistance is sitting, right? But what you can also see is price is starting to squeeze less and less and less. So as we get here, the moves are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Why does that happen? It's because it's the depression stage of the market, right? In the specific thing. We know that when the big drop happens here, it's that capitulation and then it's the anger and stuff like that. But we know depression, it really starts to creep up. And then what happens is at any point, right, gone, right? And again, all of those that got flushed out, they come back way later. Okay, so this is what my mind every day is working towards to get ready for. Is that, right? Is that right now? Not just yet. Okay, so what can I do to prepare for that? The next thing is, can I trade this range? Right? Can I trade this range and do it? Because again, I'm showing you Bitcoin, but as you move into the altcoin market, right, you'll start to see that the ranges are a little bit bigger as well. Right? So if we look at example of Doge is in a 20% range right now. Right? So every move, and there's clearly been, and I'm going to honestly say this as well, I've only traded 3 trades since the dump. And it's been all 3 of these moves. It's been a long, it's been a short, it's actually been 2 shorts, and it's been a long. Right? And now we're at the point of shorting, for example, over here as well. Look at that. There's the trend, there's the short. Amazing, right? When it comes to this as well. But you can see that these percentages are in this move here as well. So the techniques that I'm currently using right now is non-prediction. We have ideas of where they can bounce. So a couple of bounces. Let's talk about today. If I want to trade the market today and where I think Bitcoin's going to go, there is support here. The reason why is there's previous closes here. And Fibonacci-wise, right, we have a 618 approaching. Okay, so that's showing it's a little bit lower. Bitcoin's probably likely to continue down and come down to these areas of these 106 type of zones, right? The next support that I have is the lows, where this bottom trend is here. Okay, does this not look like the market cycle, guys? Where we drop and then go sideways like it does, right? It looks very much like it. There's my two zones. Okay, amazing. When we bounce from either one of them, where are we very likely to go? To resistance, right? So once we're done here, it's very likely we're going to go to resistance. Okay, so I have a nice idea of TPs, right? Because again, the question is, if I want to trade the market, right, is the risk worth the reward? Right, very important. So if we look at this here now, you know, if I entered up here, no, the risk isn't. But as price comes down now, yes, right, your risk is getting less and less and less and less and less as we go. Okay, then what I do is I now know my two bounce zones. I'm not going to predict which ones we're going to bounce. Okay, this is where we can definitely bounce. Okay, and the next thing that I'm basically doing is I'm tracking this down with a trend. That's it, right? It's literally telling me, if I look at this properly now, it's telling me, Sheldon, in about 6 to 8 hours, your trade's ready. Okay, and your trade is going to be from either one of these zones, this one or this one, and it's going to be to this period over here, to that zone there. Okay, now the next thing is obviously the risk side of things too. Okay, and this is why I'm using the trend, because I could guess and buy here. Okay, but the thing is, where do you put a stop loss? All right, and just to show you guys one rule quickly, when it comes to, you know why I'm saying a lot of this, because I'm busy shooting content on day trading at the moment, and I'm trading a lot outside of the shows to show you guys, okay, I traded 10,000 in 4 days, what happened to it, and all these type of things. And I have a 2-step rule when it comes to getting stopped out, right, which is very important. And that 2-step rule is, the market is so good at going to your stop loss and then reversing. It's very good at it, right? Who gets stopped and the market keeps going, right? It sucks, but the market's very good at that. Okay, so, and it's also very good at getting into this mindset of over trading. So I have a 2-loss or 2-win rule, right? If I take 2 losses in a row, I have to take a couple of hours break. Okay, otherwise I'm going to revenge trade and create too much damage. Okay, and there's the same thing with the wins as well. Okay, and then the second rule is, when I've taken my first hit, right, so I just got stopped out, I have to buy that. So for example, price goes now, stops me out, I have to buy the stop and put another stop in over there. Why? Because this is how I've gotten a couple of my wins in the last week or two, right? And I watched a saying again, if you are struggling, how many of you guys get stopped out all the time? Right, and then the price reverses, right? So next time, instead of buying, just put a limit order where your stop loss, where you're going to put a stop loss, and you'll see how good you'll start to become, because you're all consistently getting stopped out. What happens if you're consistently winning, right? So instead of we're there, so that's exactly what I did. The first one is my analysis. I'm going to put a stop loss here. The second one is when I get stopped, that is where I enter, and you'll be so surprised how that second one wins, right? Again, the first one wins sometimes, amazing. Okay, but the second one wins very much. If that one goes wrong, take a few hours, go back, right? So take a breather. Okay, so again, looking at something like this, right? The first thing is I have an idea now. The second thing is risk, and how can I keep taking opportunities and not get wiped and actually, you know, make money, right? The same thing now is the trend. The trend is telling you there's more downside, things are dropping. When it gets here, you'll be able to put a nice tight stop and you can go for it. If it does this, and this is what I was telling you exactly, which it does do, this, right, as an example, it's a little bit big, but like that. That's why when I get stopped, I buy, I put a stop, and I go. If it's 2 times, don't try to take a breather. Now, why do I take a breather? Sorry, this is turning into a masterclass, and I'm just going to go with it. If you guys are cool with that, right? Is why is that important? I'm actually going to use this show as practice for my shows that I want to shoot for the new one, right? Because I really believe this is powerhouse, really good content, right? So when this drops, when this is dropping and going down, right, and you have this trend, cool. Then what happens is when we slow down and we stop dropping, we tend to then go into that next phase, which I say is that depression and anger. And what we'll tend to do is make a pattern here. Now, there's a few options of what the pattern can look like. Right, we've dropped now, we're starting to push up, we're starting to go here, and we're getting ready to break the trends, right? The first one is prices come down, it's going to make a little flag, and it's going to start popping up again, right? So it's quite a small, narrow one this over here. And that's the first buy we're going for. So when I say we're buying that trend break, we're going in the understanding that this could be a short wedge play here, okay, for the push up. And what's very likely after that a little bit later is it'll probably start coming down again. Right? But nonetheless, that's the first pattern. Now, the second pattern that could be formed as well, okay, is if price is going down and it's forming that little pattern I was speaking about, but then it's actually, if you zoom out, it's making a bigger pattern, right? So even though I am fishing for this little pattern here, and I get stopped out, and then I enter and I get stopped out again, what I don't realize is zoom out, Sheldon, it's a different pattern. You're trading the wrong pattern, right? So by me getting stopped and taking a break, I come back in a few hours, and now price is here. And all that it did was it got me to, because if I kept going, I would have got stopped, and I would have had 10 losses in a row, right? That's why 2 losses are so important, because it's like, oh, you know what? This actually might be a bigger pattern that's playing. You're seeing the small one here, but it's actually a bigger one. Breathe. And when you come back and then it breaks here, you get your win and you're back in the profits again, right? And you start moving and start going again. So again, when I look at this now and I go here and I say, okay, because remember, both of them can play out, right? So now we go here. My question on Bitcoin right now, or on, yes, Bitcoin, what pattern are you going to make? Are you going to make that little wedge that I just spoke about and then go, right? Or are you going to do this, right? Both of them result in reversal patterns. The one's just longer than the other, right? So damn straight, when this trend breaks, I'm going to play the first one. If I get stopped, okay, because what also happens is if price goes down and drops like this, sometimes it does this and then goes. That's why I said the stop loss hunt. So again, my first one here is buy the breaker trend, stop loss here. Smashes here, buy the stop loss hit. Okay, and if it smashes again, take a break. Okay, it's there again, go. Boom, right? And then we start moving again. Okay, so very much that's what's in play. When the trade is then in, guys, what we're kind of looking for, okay, is again, once this now does this and then starts to break and starts to push, right? It's very likely I'll track it at the bottom with a trend, okay, and I'll have an idea over here of where I want it to go, and I'll obviously very much be using the stochastic. So if I see we are still quite far from my targets and stochastics are getting at the top, I'll start TPing out. Now, the reason is, and I just want to show you guys this over here. So I'm going like full teaching here, if you guys are cool with that, is every mid-range. So if this was the drop, mid-range is very much big resistance. Okay. And if we don't get through that, it's very likely we do that. Okay. So I pay a lot of attention of taking some profits or moving my stop loss up very much to this mid-range. If it gets through, amazing, and then it can come down after that. Okay. But mid-range, and this is why I say when they pump and they come down, you want to buy the middle. Right? If it's in a downtrend, the middle over here too, right? Amazing. Okay, so let's give you guys a couple of my trading setups that I am getting ready to take. Okay. The first one for me is I'm going to trade Solana. Okay, so the first thing I do yet again, I have the ideas of where we're going to bounce. I've tracked Bitcoin, amazing, right? Again, something like this, guys, we are starting to form a bigger reversal pattern here. This is a good pattern that's forming on Sol, okay? But you could still see how far we have until those major zones there too, right? So I got the big trend at the top, big this, amazing. Now, I have an understanding that, Sheldon, you're not going to trade this for this yet, right? You're trading this from here to here, and it's very likely it's going to continue for a little while longer. So there's actually 1, 2, 3 trade setups incoming over the next couple of days for you on Solana, right? There is a quick long, there is a quick short, and there is a possible bigger long that you can build in over here, right? So those are my understanding. How did I get to that view? Is the big trend line at the top. We're still very far, right, from that big breakout or anything like that. Okay, and even if you zoom in here to this trend here, we're still far. right? So then again, okay, amazing. So I'm not holding this thing for long. I'm looking for a long short on this. And the goal here is to just take my time to get them. Now, the next thing is, okay, now you have an understanding. Now let's zoom into where we are right now to look for your trade, right? The first thing is put the top trend in. The top trend will tell you when the trade is ready. You have your areas of where it's going to bounce. That doesn't matter, right? Is it ready? No, it's not. The reason being is if you go to the 1 hour, we still need a depression phase. So something like this now, okay, needs a push up. Let's, for example, I told you guys, for as long as it's in this side of the line, I'm preparing, I'm not executing, right? The execution happens when we're on that side of the line, right? That's when red emotions, green emotions, right, come into play. So again, I have a first little understanding of time-wise of where we are looking at trading, and I have my zones here too. So again, something like this that I'm getting ready to prepare for is as this goes, drops, that's where I'm going to catch. If it stops me, again, I'll buy the stop nonetheless, and then build my way up, and I'm looking for SOL to push back up to the 190. Again, if I look at percentages, these are 8 to 7 percentages. I will trade some leverage on this. But again, the goal is with my risk, and I just want to show you guys this now, is I want to see this and buy this because my risk can be the lowest. And it means that I can have higher leverage when I focus on my risk. How do I determine that? If I buy here and put a stop here and I'm on 0.55%, and my risk aspect is, let's say, 3 to 5%. I don't want to lose to 3 to 5% per trade, right? And my reward must be 3 times the amount, right? 0.5 here, I can enter on around an 8x if I have a 5%. So just by being patient, I could do that. Now, let's say I wanted to enter right now. You would have to, I'm actually going to put where I would really put a stop loss under the 786. That's a 2% risk. That means you could enter this trade on a 2x. Right? So why the hell would I waste my time entering on a 2x now where I could wait hours later and get an 8x opportunity? Right? For the same amount of risk. Do you want to make your, do I want to make my money back quicker? Yes. So then why am I wasting my time and using bullets for no reason? Right? Let this play, let this go, and then start to move. Okay, so again, I zoomed out to determine, okay, there's 3 trades, there's 1 long, there's 1 short, there's 1 long. Now, why did I do that? Because it will help me exit the long quicker, because I know there's another trade coming. So what I don't like to do is get in trade after trade. Okay, so if I already got an idea now that from here at some point we're going to bounce, then go down, and then that's very likely what we will possibly do right over here. By the time I make money here and I'm getting the trade correct, by the time we get anywhere here, I want to be out of the position. Why? Because then it gives me a couple of hours to get the next position. If I go straight in from here all the way up and then try this, you haven't analyzed your short enough to get it the way you want to get it, right? So again, I'm exiting here, giving it a bit of time, and I'm really working on, okay, couple of hours ready for the short, get the short. Same thing, when we get here, I'm out, right? Give me a little bit of time here to get the long, right? And that's exactly how I am playing a lot of these. So the Bitfunded accounts, I'll be deploying today when we break this trend. I'll be deploying it on Solana. I'll be trading this $20,000 account. I'll also be trading the move. I'm not looking to go 20, 30, 40 X's. It depends. If the trend breaks and I can put a really tight stop loss, maybe it'll go that high. But I'll probably trade around a 5 to a 10X. What's the goal here? Get this account to 30 on the long. On the short, get it to 40. On the long again, get it to 50. Get money growing. By the time we're on the other side of that big Bitcoin trend line that I was speaking about, I want to have trading accounts with size. I want my money back quickly, right? And I want to get things going. And again, slow down to speed up. When I say quickly, slow down to speed up, right? Very much that over there. Same thing again with the bots and all these type of things. So as we go through a bunch of these coins now, let's go through them with you guys. So again, let's say Cardano as an example. Top trend line is the first most important one. Look how beautifully we rejected that yesterday. When's Cardano going to move? Not too long. A lot of these charts are showing at the end of the week, we should actually have a nice little altcoin pump, right? So if I look at this now, and I see, okay, cool. This looks good. Why do I not FOMO into this trade right now? Okay, because what you don't know is, oh, we lost this trend. There's resistance ahead of you. You're buying resistance, right? So put the trend in, wait for that to break, and then you're learning to buy a break of resistance and not chase these things up, right? So something like this, why did I choose Solana over Cardano? Because Sol matches my strategy. Sol shows me that we have this, this, this. Isn't that perfect to unlock my Bitfunded accounts? Isn't that perfect to do that? Right? Where Cardano is showing me that it's actually closer to the big trend. So this is a token that when we break here, it's actually perfect for my little bit longer leverage account, something that I want to build and hold for a little bit longer. Right? So the Solana one really suits Bitfunded and it suits my shorter trading accounts. This one may suit a different part of it might even suit the bots, right? And it's just knowing the difference between the two, which is beautiful. Now, if you don't know a lot of what I just spoke about, hopefully you learned a lot in the show. But secondly, you have work to do. Get your mind strong and go learn all of this stuff before we're on the other side of the line. Stop figuring it out when it is happening. Figure it out and get yourself smart and strong before it happens so that you can enjoy it, understand it, and not make as many mistakes as possibly before. Do you see how much mentality goes into the trades and the timing and the this and the that? And do I want to trade last night? Yeah, right now, yes, I do. I do want to trade right now, but the trade's ready in 12 hours, right? How much money do I want to go blow, right? Just to learn that lesson, right? So guys, heads up again. We are on a drop. I do think this is the one or two. I'm not going to say last, right? But I'm going to say I do think this is this dip, and I do think we're going to start to see some strength, right? Then I think there'll be another drop, and then I think the real breakouts are coming in the next week or two. I do. In this meanwhile, I'm unlocking accounts, right? We have sections in Club for you guys on Bitfunded, but again, here, open up, get Bitfunded accounts over here. What I'm doing is trading these accounts. When I make some profits, and my goal is to whoop butt with these accounts, right? I will be giving to those who have my link here on Bitfunded. I'll be doing some giveaways on shows and all these type of things. Same with 𝗬𝗏𝗡𝗏. I'm actually going to be trading some great money with 𝗬𝗏𝗡𝗏 pretty soon as well as 𝗏𝗏𝗱𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 over here. It's all the links, every opportunity you need to change your life. Now, the last thing that I want to say is the school is on Thursday. It was going to be today. It's on Thursday. The school, if you liked what I did today, today's 20% of what I'm going to do on Thursday. Get your butt to school. Click on the link. I'm going to show you guys right now. There's the link. All right, click on it. Okay, go to course, click on this. It's very quick to verify. You can see 2 days, the event starts, right? Get going. Here's the entire course for you guys, which is incredible. Teach you a lot, but the live event is going to be incredible as well. Join this and get yourself powered up. Guys, have a great day. Love you lots. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.